Hello and welcome to day 26, where I'll be showing what I eat in a day to lose weight. And for you, that means regaining your health and also reversing type 2 diabetes through the foods that I recommend and you'll see me eating. And I've got my evidence here. This is a CGM, a Freestyle Libre 3 Plus. There it is. And I'll be showing either screenshots or time lapses of my blood glucose response in a healthy normal range on a high carbohydrate, low fat, low protein, and subsequently vegan lifestyle. So that's the food part. And then quite often you'll see me cycling. So I'm out here in nature. Whoa, bit of a slope in cycling shoes, funny. And I recommend the foods that I recommend are good for losing weight and always being healthy. And for me, I want to be lean for cycling. So that means that the lifestyle that I live and promote is for longevity. So if you're lean and you're lean for life, yeah, you'll have hopefully a good, healthy number of years. You can never, that could be for another video, but essentially you're always going to get 80 to 90 years or to 100 years, no matter what you do. But those years that you have, you can be lean and healthy, and you can either choose to stay essentially fat and sick, or you can change your lifestyle to a one based on health. And that's what I'm choosing to do with my life. I want to be lean and healthy and enjoy the freedom. This is the high sugar freedom lifestyle. So you'll be free from the healthcare system. You won't need doctors or pharmacists in your life. And the bicycle is the freedom machine that allows you to get out into this. I mean, what else would you rather be doing? Sitting inside doing nothing? Don't be ridiculous. So I'll show you what I eat during the day, breakfast, lunch and tea, my on the bike nutrition, and you'll see my blood glucose response. And say, if you want to go to the gym and build muscle, you can build muscle even on the low protein lifestyle that I recommend. If you take, and I don't recommend them, but if you take anabolic steroids, you'll grow muscle like you see people on the internet. You'll be very lucky if you can build as much muscle as you see people on the internet naturally. So on this channel, I don't recommend any drug use for gaining weight or losing weight. You should always at least, if you want to take drugs, you can do whatever you want. Nothing I can do to stop you. But I would always recommend doing as much as you can naturally. And then, yeah, it's up to you if you want to take performance enhancing drugs. But I've never taken performance enhancing drugs. And when I see people who do, yes, they work. But I always think, and I would always recommend, the natural life, i.e. just living healthy through the foods that you eat, is the best way to live life. And then you won't have all of the negative health side effects and consequences of taking drugs. Just live a natural life, and then you can free yourself from depression, healthcare system, being fat and sick, and be free, or as free as you can in this life. Freedom! Do, do, do. This is what I'm going to start off the breakfast with. So 6 bananas and some orange juice. And I've got some pasta left from yesterday, so I'll probably heat that up and I'll just have that with some soy sauce, but I'll show you that in a moment. Now I've finished off these bananas and my orange juice. Now I'm going to just finish this pasta. Just had some soy sauce, added some pepper, and also a little bit of basil, a little bit of parsley, probably about 250 grams of leftover cooked pasta from yesterday. I've got my fan club up there. Do you see them? Hello. I don't know what they're waiting for. I think for me to do something amazing, like hands off the bars. Ah. So yeah, I'm doing about 4.5 hours today, and I've got, for my on the bike nutrition, I've got two 950s, two 950 milliliter bottles with about 150 grams in each, 150 grams of table sugar, and I've got some sweets in the pockets on the side of my leg there, and also some more here. So I've got vegan gummy sweets, and this is the scenery for today. 360 there. Pro training views. So that will probably be about, well, 350 plus 150. So yeah, I'll have enough for 100 grams of sugar an hour, plus a little bit more. So I've got a little bit more, just in case I feel like I need a little bit more. Here you go. It doesn't have to be expensive. It's got all the kit you need: the wheels, handlebars, brakes. Yeah, maybe not long after that you could upgrade to this. Well, here it is. Here's an example of what I talk about on this channel: the horror of the world we live in. How many cows do you think are in this field? How many females? They've all got a collar on. So as far as the eye can see, this field is full of, so these are dairy cows. So I'd say in this one field, and this is in the UK, what, there's, how many do you think in there? Oh, I don't really want to tell, you have a guess, but yeah, all of these cows here, even though they're dairy, these are all going to be slaughtered. So even if you say you're vegetarian, because you don't like the idea of animals being killed for pleasure, which is what we do now, so food isn't just survival, we eat for pleasure. So that's why I say, you know, be vegan, because you can eat for pleasure without killing all these animals. So yeah, I would say there's probably about 300 maybe, and yeah, I can hear them eating. There's so many, I can hear them going. That I can just hear the noise of grass when you pull it up. It goes. I'm gonna pull on some. There isn't really any. So there you go. Go vegan. Do it for your own health, and then do it for this, because these are all going to be slaughtered. Even cows that produce milk, they all go to the slaughterhouse, and they just get killed and eaten anyway. So there's no such thing as vegetarianism. Okay, vegetarianism doesn't exist. You're still contributing to this. Have you seen this many butterflies in one spot? Isn't that amazing? All feasting on the sugars, on the nectar. Beautiful. I've just seen something I've never seen before. These butterflies here behind me are actually fighting, knocking each other off out the way, like little birds would at a bird feeder. So it's so busy here, there's not much real estate. They're knocking each other out of the way. It's funny. Now here's some people who aren't training like a pro. There's lots of obviously drunken good times going on over there. But yeah, if you want to, it's a little flea, midgie, sorry, little bitey midgie. If you want to keep your fitness and stay healthy, then I would never take any drugs, alcohol. If you really want to be healthy for life and be able to perform at your best, and that is meaning being healthy, then yeah, I wouldn't ever recommend drinking alcohol, wine, spirits, beer. You don't need it to have a good time. If you want to have a good time, I recommend getting one of these. And yeah, if you want to, sorry about the noise. If you want to take a break and do something like this, then you don't need to take drugs, okay? If you want to keep your fitness for training like a pro and being the best you can you hear it? Something like this, yeah, it may seem fun, but you're going to lose a lot of fitness. Yeah, it looks exciting. Very exciting. But yeah, if you want to do something like this, you can. If you want to do something like this, yeah, you can. It's up to you. It's your life. This or this or this or this. I choose this. Just got the supplies on the old banger, the old chopper. I got back, finished off some water, and then had some 2 large slices of sourdough, just to bread and water, just to get me to the shops to get some pro cyclist supplies. Basically more sugary stuff, more sugar and more carbs. This is what I'm having for dinner. So a lot of rice. After today I did a long bike ride, or as I call it, having fun moving your body. So there's also a can of mixed beans, some pepper for taste, some basil as well, bit of chili sauce, and then some beetroot juice with 100 grams of sugar in it. This is the recap for day 26, and I'm doing this between showers, so hopefully I won't get wet. So today, day 26, I had about, is the mic on? Yep, the mic's on, good to go. I had about 5 grams of fat, about 60 grams of protein, and about 950 grams of carbohydrate. So after this little recap, you'll be able to see, I'll put a overview of the day, showing the whole day and my blood glucose for the whole day. And I would have done, I think I did at least 1 time lapse during the day, so showing my blood glucose levels. So again, as you can see, it's high fat and high protein that are what I'm missing, okay? So when you maybe look at your blood glucose levels, if you've got CGM, and you're looking at what your fasting levels of blood glucose are versus what I call spikes. So yeah, I don't really watch other videos of other channels. Most of the time I'm making these videos from the information that is true, so I don't need to watch other videos. But sometimes I get suggested videos that essentially are saying the opposite of what I'm saying, which is the opposite of the truth. So for example, I saw a video where there was this man talking about his blood glucose levels, and he was going on about how essentially his channel was, he was overweight and he was diabetic, and it was all about his progress of losing weight. And so he was maybe 300 pounds or more, and well, that's what, 120, 150 kilos or so. And yeah, a middle-aged man, and he essentially was going down the cutting out sugar's bad, and then doing essentially the minimum of exercise. I always see the same thing, people taking videos of themselves doing like just lifting weights, standing still and just going like this and thinking that they're doing a lot. Okay, yeah, it's better than just sitting down, but that just standing there and lifting some light weights going like this isn't going to help you to lose weight. Okay, I'll get onto why you might be losing weight and why this whole gym at home sort of, I always see those I call them the classics. So I always see a video of someone losing weight and they're just standing in the gym going like this with some weights. And yeah, he was saying in this video, it was a YouTube short, and this particular video was talking about, it was a certain food that was sugar free, and he said, oh yeah, this is great because look at my blood glucose levels. So in this video, so this was a channel that was promoting the, well, maybe keto or essentially low carb lifestyle, which is, yeah, a rubbish lifestyle. So in this video, this particular person, they're resting, or sorry, I was going to say resting heart rate, they're fasting blood glucose levels. Okay, they're fasting blood glucose levels on a high fat diet. They was promoting essentially a high fat, low carb diet. I think the rain's coming. Oh dear. Just hold that thought for a moment. I've got an old bag of rice to keep me dry. Actually, this will keep me dry for just to get this video finished. So essentially, this person was promoting high fat, low carb, so the opposite of what I'm saying. And this person's just their fasting levels of glucose was essentially, for me, it's around 4 millimoles for my fasting blood glucose on the high sugar diet, low fat, low protein. And then when I eat, as you see in the graphs, my blood glucose levels maybe goes up to 8 or 9, for example, millimoles, and then drops straight back down. Whereas this person's graph, their fasting blood glucose levels was around 8 or 9. And then when they were eating, and this video was actually a sugar-free version of a food that I might say you can eat. And this person's blood glucose levels went up to, I think it was something like 13 or 14 millimoles. And yeah, I think this is why, I'm making these videos, because to me it's just crazy, because you've got people who are watching these videos and subscribing and subscribing more to videos like that than the videos I'm making. And it's of someone who is diabetic. So this person was diabetic and was showing in their blood glucose levels the food that they were eating was making them diabetic. And yet they were saying, look how great it is. So my fasting blood glucose levels was around 4, and this person's fasting blood glucose was around 9. So the highest that my blood glucose would go in a day, the highest mine would go in a day, is his fasting level. So yeah, obviously, yeah, if you are always eating high fat, high protein, and this is just the way you've been brought up, even when someone is showing you that they're eating high fat, high protein, and they're showing their blood glucose levels that they are diabetic, and yet people are saying, oh, look how great this is. Well, my fasting levels are around 4 millimoles, and it goes up to maybe 8 or 9. And blood glucose spikes don't mean anything if your fasting blood glucose levels are at the same level as my supposed spikes. So yes, you will be diabetic if your fasting blood glucose levels are constantly elevated. Okay. So I hope you enjoy the video. Like and subscribe and follow along and try it yourself. Okay. So I'm a human being, so I know that it'll work. What I'm doing works because I'm a human being. Okay. just about sort of staying dry. And the other thing about, he was also doing the movement, okay? You know, just standing in the gym or standing at home, just doing this, you know, and you get a little bit of a sweat on. This is not how you lose weight, okay? So aerobic exercise, so sort of stopped. I recommend cycling because it's the best way to move your body to lose weight. So just standing there going like this doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. It's always accompanied by a calorie deficit mindset. Okay, so people are losing weight while they're doing this just because they're in their mind, they're going, I need to move more and eat less. Okay, so if you move more and eat less, get a bike. Okay, cycling is the best way to lose fat, lose excess body fat. Okay, so when fat's broken down in the body, when it's metabolized, okay, the two main ways, so essentially it's broken down. There's three ways that fat gets broken down and then it disappears. Okay, where's fat disappearing to? It gets broken down, and then when you breathe out, so you breathe out CO2. So CO2 is released from the product. When fat is broken down through your metabolism and you're using it as energy, or for example, the main waste product of the metabolism of fat is CO2 and water, and also heat. But the main way you get rid of fat is through breathing out. Okay, so if you breathe more, breathe in and out more. Okay, so go. Can you hear that? Okay, so when you're on the bike, and I wouldn't say go on the bike and always thrash the bike. You should always be able, most of the time, you should just be at a talking pace. So when you're out on the bike, maybe doing an hour, for example, I would always recommend more. Then if you're still able to talk while you're cycling, then that's at the level you should be riding, and that's how you're going to lose fat. Okay, yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but if you have no idea about essentially how the world works or anything works, and you just see people doing the same things, I always see the same thing. It's people who are fat and sick and other people who are fat and sick congratulating each other on being fat and sick, and giving each other essentially high fives. Okay, so if you actually want to get lean and stop being sick, then I would say stop watching videos of people who are overweight and sick, because all that's going to do is make you overweight and sick. Okay, so you need to watch videos. I would say these videos, like and subscribe, because I'm always saying eat as much of the foods as I recommend, no calorie counting, eat to feel full, satiate yourself with the foods that I recommend, and enjoy the freedom lifestyle. So you'll always be lean and healthy. You can save money and you can appreciate the world around you as well. So, you know, I say vegan as well. It allows you to appreciate the world that you live in. So the fat and protein that is destroying your health is also through the production of food, so animal products. Fat and protein is destroying the planet. Okay, so it's an analogous of each other. So the fat and protein that is destroying your health, making you fat and diabetic, the production of high fat, high protein foods is destroying the planet. Okay, so essentially it's making the planet, destroying the planet's health as well as your health. So hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I've got a few more days on this sensor, on this CGM, Freestyle Libre 3 Plus. You get about 2 weeks on them, and yeah, it's lasted. So there's been a few errors here and there you might have noticed, but most of the time it's been good and reliable. And yeah, if you cut out sugar and you start eating fat and protein, guess what will happen? Your fasting blood glucose levels will go up, just like the evidence I see in these other videos from people where they're congratulating themselves for being diabetic. I mean, it's crazy. So stop watching those ridiculous videos and yeah, check out other videos on my channel where you'll be able to see I'm always lean, I'm always healthy, and I eat as much of the foods as I recommend. So you can free your body from the shackles of being ill, and you can free your mind through not worrying all the time about what you're eating. Okay, so it's fasting blood glucose levels versus glucose spikes. You want your fasting blood glucose levels to be low in the healthy range, for me. So for me, that's like about 4.5 millimoles. And yeah, your blood glucose levels will go up because they're meant to. That's why we eat, is to increase our blood glucose levels. But because you're sensitive to insulin, when you're on the high sugar, low fat, low protein lifestyle, you're sensitive to insulin, and therefore your insulin resistance is low. And therefore when you eat and your blood glucose level goes up, it comes straight back down. So yeah, you don't need to worry about all of the health problems that you're getting on high fat. So the health problems you're getting is high fat, high protein. And if you've always been eating high fat, high protein, I saw this video and it just made me so annoyed. Because it's if you're eating high fat and high protein and you're sick, fat and sick, it's obviously not because you've been eating high carb. Okay, so high carbohydrate, low fat, low protein is at least 500 grams of carbs a day, between 10 and 20 grams of fat at the most a day, and yeah, maybe 50-60 grams of protein at the most, for example, for normal people. So this is high carb, low fat, low protein. At least 500 grams of carbohydrates a day, no more than 10 to 20 grams of fat a day, and I would say no more than 50 to 60 grams of protein to be healthy for longevity. So I hope you enjoy the video. And yes, I'm suffering in the cold and the wet in the UK. Just in a few days we've gone from summer to autumn, but yeah, at least I've got some nice ripe fruit for me to enjoy. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. See you for day 26. Day 27, sorry. Day 27 is next.